Oh man, welcome to another Titans TV live edition right now. Woo-wee, I'm about to go in. I'm going hard at the fake Kemetic teachers. Yeah, all these false Kemetic teachers, I am going in on them. I'm calling them out. Whether it is Shakka Ahmose, Jabari, Osazi, or Brother Tehuti, I'm coming at you all. Anyways, enough of the clickbait stuff. I'm just joking, man. You already know my style already. I have loads of respect and love for all my brothers within inside of the Kemetic community, and I think it's unfair to even go at my brothers since we've got such a small nascent community. So, anyways, all right. I just wanted to pull something up because one of my brothers actually dropped me a message in the comment section, and I thought, oh yeah, that's kind of true, like because it does seem a certain way, and I just want to make it clear that I don't even hate none of these brothers, you know. I just know that we have like a fundamental methodological difference between each other. That's all. I already know that. And I've already showcased already for those of you guys who don't know. I've already showcased this already on Sarnet TV. I've already showcased this on like French Kemetic community on Mobali's channel. And I did a whole presentation on that, kind of showing you where like me and the rest of the Kemetic community, I don't, I don't really get along with in respect to their scholarship or their stance on certain things. Okay. And I'm just going to highlight something today to you guys. And then we're going to go back into my personal stance on things. And then I would love to stimulate dialogue and discussions with my Kemetic community to see where they're at and where they're coming from. And I would love to actually, get some of my Kemetic brothers on here. And I would love to actually go on to some other channels as well. And we can actually present some information on various different topics, because I feel as though I'm getting lazy and I'm getting complacent that I'm not really being challenged mentally and intellectually at all from the stuff that I'm watching. So it's good to just kind of do some still sharpening, some still moments. So I'm going to right now show you the particular video. Yeah, man, like Annibal's up in the building. I'm going to show you something, what I'm talking about in terms of, the Kemetic stance and where we differ. Okay. So let's just get up the Shakka Ahmose debate. Hopefully you guys, oh no, that's not the one. Stop sharing that one. Let's share the screen. Where are we? There we go. Cool. And I believe it starts roughly around 10:20. So let's go there. You know me, I always do ×2 speed, so we're going to slow it down to just that. And yeah. So I'm going to play it for you guys just to listen in full. It's about an hour. Sorry, it's about a minute and a half long where I'm going to play. And I'm just going to just dissect certain bits to show like where we are at odds with each other. And it's not me hating as such. It's just me it's just a fair criticism that, I entered into Kemetic, the Kemetic community because I love Kemetic philosophy. I can't say I am a Kemetic spiritualist or a Kemetic religion person or whatever the case is. I just love the Kemetic philosophy. Like my worldview, I would say, is majoritarily shaped by Kemetic understanding of the world, basically. So let's go into that right now. And then let me know in the comment section if you can actually hear what's being said.
Yeah. So do you believe in the concept of sin? And if so, how's it atoned for?
All right. Do you believe in the concept of sin? And if so, how do you atone for it? All right. Jeez, man, like Orthodox Moors in the building. So I'm going to let it play through, but just highlight some key moments. Obviously, y'all should already know my view. I say Kemetics, they don't believe full stop. That's number one. And we don't deal with sin. That's number two. But I'm not going to interrupt. Let's just play it through.
Okay. I do believe in the concept of sin. The atonement, first of all, how it is atoned for will depend on which eschatological philosophy you subscribe to, right? Which eschatological worldview you subscribe to. So in Christianity, it would be atoned for your sins will be atoned by the crucifixion of Christ, right? If you subscribe to a Kemetic worldview, your sins are atoned for by, how can I put this? By identifying with the resurrection of Asar, which is only part of the process of atonement. The atonement part of the process, if you're sincere, I think from my perspective, it starts while you're alive, meaning your behavior, how you live, the things that you do, right? If you've lived a righteous, the paramount was if you lived a righteous life on earth, right? Living a righteous life on earth was part of it, but also a key part of that formula was the belief in the death and resurrection of Asar. So it's through that process that your atonement is achieved. And that's what the primary evidence bears out. That's what the text bears out. So as someone who subscribes to that culture, that's what I believe. Now, here's the thing. I don't necessarily confound my dutiful cultural beliefs with my own observation and experience in life, right? With my own observation and experience in life, especially, and this part I can relate to the text. A lot of people misinterpret the Kemetic text, and there is an element of the Kemetic text that really addresses directly what you just said. And the person who translated this text is really like one of the authorities on the text, and that's Dr. Theophilo Benga out of Temple University, San Fran State, and Santa Cruz rather, and also Brazzaville. He translated the text and explicitly showed where the text. See, the Europeans, because of their Judeo-Christian perspective.
I'm going to stop it there because it's a little bit of waffling. Okay. So I'm going to backtrack it. Okay. And I'm simply pointing up something that I disagree with my brother Shakka. And there's no problem with disagreeing with a person, right? And the very first question, and this is just me looking at a debate, the very first question that was asked from the interlocutor is, do you believe in the concept of sin? And if so, how do you atone? I was shocked and surprised when I'm hearing a Kemetic teacher saying, I believe in the concept of sin. I'm like, huh? Hold on. Wait 1 second. If you're speaking on behalf of Kemet, you can't be. You can't be. If you're speaking on behalf of yourself, then yeah, that's cool. That's calm. Like I can say, yeah, I have certain beliefs. I believe in aliens, but that's not part of Kemetic philosophy, Kemetic teachings, etc. Right? That's just not in the text. So, or I believe in the the Big Bang theory or something like that. Then you could say that, and then you could say, it's not in the Kemetic text, but I believe it, and I have justifications via using the Kemetic text. You can say something like that, but to say like, for me, I'm thinking that you're representing Kemet in this moment in time. And you can't be representing Kemet because that's not what Kemetic teachings teach. And this is why I actually did a presentation, right? Let me see if I can get the presentation up 1 second. So you can be on my vibes. Okay, cool. So I did a presentation, time ago, and that was the Kemetic doer in praxis. The purpose of like what we do as Kemet is to realize Ma'at and to destroy Isfet. And when I see Isfet, like I'm like, yo, that's false. Like, let's remove the Isfet and let's teach what is true, right? So that's all I'm doing. I'm not coming at anybody in no hateful way. And I always say, yeah, like for me, my foundation is like, do nothing according to your own heart. Don't make shit up. Like, there's no need. I say, like, I keep on telling you guys, everything that I teach, yeah, I am too smart, yeah, and at the same time, too inexperienced to just make things up, to just create things out of my imagination. All I need to do is source my information. Yeah, where did you get that from, Kalam? That's all you lot. That's all you lot have to say to me. And I always say, here's my sources, here's my journals, here's my articles, here's the primary source, etc., etc. And I'm like, can we not apply that same thing to the Kemetic teachers? All right, do nothing according to your heart, but you should look at the old writings. So, where in the Kemetic literature do you get this concept of belief in the concept of sin? Where do you get that we sin? Like, where do you get this stuff from? Right? Pass the direction of the temple in your hands as an instruction for your children. So I'm like, yo, okay. anything that I'm saying when it comes to Kemet, you always see primary sources or secondary sources backing up what I'm saying, right? Let me just quickly go through. And, the Kemetic system is all about knowing things. It's never about belief. The foundation of the Kemetic system is ma'at, from the root ma'a, like literally to observe, to do, to see, to know. Like literally everything is about knowledge, knowing. Rech is the terminology for knowledge, right? Or knowing something. Like that's all we deal with. Knowledge, science. So when people talk to me and they say belief, I'm like, like we don't deal with that, right? It's what can we prove? Like I would tell you, this is my opinion, all right, but this is what's the established norm within side of Kemet or within side of the academic literature. Like there is a two difference. Like I can have my own theories, but let's just separate what you believe or what you think or what's your hypothesis based upon what is the established facts of the things, right? So let me quickly go through. Is there anything else from here that I wanted to pull up? Right. Yeah. So I'll stop there and I will just quickly go back into, his stuff real quickly. So stop that. Let's just present, share screen. Let's get back onto this debate. Right. And let me quickly touch on these things.
Before. Okay. I do believe in the concept of sin.
So again, I told you we don't deal with beliefs in Kemet. If any of your teachers start off with "I believe," say "isfet" to them. Repeat after me. If any of your teachers say "I believe," say "isfet." When they ask you, "What do you mean isfet?" say that is what you're doing right now. It's called isfet. We don't deal with beliefs. We deal with knowledge, science. Okay, let's go.
The atonement. First of all, how is it atoned for?
So, again,
I do believe in the concept of sin.
Concept of sin. So I'm going to ask, like, any of you guys, yeah? Any of you guys who are Kemetics, right? Like, where in the Kemetic literature do you see the concept of sin? Where? Like, if you believe this, cool. I'm wrong. Let's say Kalam is wrong. All right. Cite your source your sites. Source your citation. Show me where in the Kemetic literature it says that. All right. I can give you pure secondary sources, etc. Let me just do this actually. Let me go into one of my favorite teachers, Mwalana Karenga, just real quickly. Yeah. And then if you don't want to battle against me, you can. All right. But for me, you're never battling against me personally. You're always gonna have to be battling against my shield, which is my source. My sources are either my sword or they're my shield. Is that simple? Because I don't say anything of my own. Come like Jesus talks right now. Yeah, I only do what the Father has shown me. Them ways. Yeah. So let's just quickly enlarge this if I can for you guys to see. So this is in Maulana's Karenga's, I believe it's at the moral something. I'll get for you a little bit later on. Yeah. Right here, section 6. Assimilation with God and perfectibility are also conceptually reinforced by the assumption that human nature is endowed by the Creator and is essentially good, for it is in his likeness, i.e., rooted in Ma'at. Thus, there is no concept. I'm going to repeat. There is no concept of sin, even though Jewish, Christian, and Islamic scholars looking for similarities with their own religion might call moral offenses in Kemetic ethical literature sin. It is interesting to note that in David Shenum's English Egyptian Index of Faulkner's concise dictionary of Middle Egyptian, there is no listing for sin. So even in the lexicon, the language, the vocabulary that's spoken by the ancient Egyptians, the Remet, the Kemetics, right? There is no word for sin. Okay? It goes on to say there is, however, ample listings with many overlappings for wrong, wrongdoing, evil, evildoer, etc. Right? but there is no concept of sin within inside of Kemetic literature. Now, am I the bad guy for pointing this out because I am not allowing or willing to let Isfet, right, misinformation to continue within inside of the Kemetic community? Am I the bad guy for that? And this is why, personally, yeah, I've never really indulged in like engaging with the Kemetic community, because I'm like, bro, there's too much Isfet in that for me to even start off. I remember I started off like, 7, 8, 9 years ago, bringing up certain things that Kemetic scholars were saying, and then I was just getting pure backlash. And I'm like, right, this is just another belief system. Nobody there is dealing with true Kemetic philosophy. So I don't really engage with the religious or the spiritual people within there, because like, I love what you're doing, continue doing what you're doing, but we're on two different levels, because I'm looking at it from a academic or a philosophical point of view, but you're dealing with it from an ideological, or like there's so many other things that's pushed in there that I'm like we have similarities, but we have too many differences, to be honest with you. All right, quickly go back, and then we'll just scroll down to what page is this now? Page, don't know, I'll put it up later on. As you can see, section 6 within there. Again, there is, he doubles down. Again, there is no sin, then there is no need for transformation, i.e., conversion for salvation. But the divine nature is already there. We are already divine. We are made from the image and likeness of the divine God, or nature, or divine principle, however you like it. It simply has to be cultivated through teaching and learning and Ma'atian social practice. Moreover, with no original sin, as in the Judeo-Christian anthropology, one has no ontological stain, right? We don't need no atonement. Therefore, one is born not in sin, but in a context of possibilities. Ooh, love that. Offense against God, humans, and nature then can be corrected by teaching, learning, and self-corrective practices, and do not require confession and conversion or divine grace to an unworthy and inherently sinful being. Yeah? So I'm just showing you where I get my stuff from. Yeah? I get my stuff from. Hold on, let me just do this. Let me go to page 1, hopefully. Yeah. Matt, there you go. One second. There you go. Let me just show you. Like, this is where Kalam gets his stuff from. You see how thick this book is? It is 444 pages long, right? This is where I get my information from. Yeah, from actual Kemetic scholars, right? Ma'at, The Moral Ideal in Ancient Egypt, a study in classical African ethics by Mwalana Karenga. So if you disagree with me, right, you're not really disagreeing with me. You're going to disagree with Maulana Karenga, okay? And I want you, and you're going to, technically speaking, you're disagreeing with the ancient Egyptian people as well, right? Let me just actually bring up a second source maybe for this, right? Let me go to page 70. Where are you? No, let's go to page 1 first. Let's just go through so you can see which books I'm bringing up. Henry Frankfurt, Ancient Egyptian Religion, yeah? Let's quickly go through. Boom, boom, boom. All right. And this is a European scholar. The other one was an African-American scholar, I believe. All right. If you see here, it says here, the absence of the concept of sin on page 73. And in there, again, it literally reiterates what the good brother Mwalana Karenga states about there is no concept of sin within inside of ancient Egyptian thought, right? This is just me bringing up everything. I'm not even going to go into it. Yeah. But if you want to go and check the primary sources or the source material that I've got, here you go. Right. So I'm just going to stop the screen right now. Let me just get back to this. So share screen once more. All right. And for those of you guys As I said, this was the presentation I did on Sarneta's channel. And my thing is quite simple, right? Don't believe me, right? I'm not asking you to believe me, right? I'm not going to ever make things up to you guys. It's never going to come from my imagination or from my own mind or from my own heart. Do you know where it's going to come from? It's going to come from the actual primary source materials, right? As it says here on the Temple of Komombo, X878, do not anything according to your heart, but you should look at the old writings. And that's exactly what I'm doing. With inside of the old writings, there is not even a word for sin, let alone a concept for sin. Okay? The secondary sources, such as all of the Egyptian or Egyptological authors, scholars, PhDs, etc., have clearly stated there is no concept of sin within inside of ancient Egypt. Okay, so now I know I was having little conversations with people on Sarneta's channel about it, and I'm just going to show you, like, if you believe there was a concept of sin, please provide your evidence. That is what I'm going to say on that topic. Let me get back to this now and read some of your comments and see what you guys are saying. Man, we live, baby, we live. Which school of Kemetic thought does Shakka get down with? Heliopolitan, Memphite, Theban, etc. I don't personally. I don't think Kemetic scholars, or not Kemetic scholars, Kemetics, like the voices of Kemet, I don't even think they belong to a particular, city, temple, structure. I don't think they even know that information. Personally, I really don't think so. Right? And yeah, this is why I've never really been keen on following any of the the particular schools or cults, or whatever they've created. I've never really been too keen on it because I don't see the foundation, right? I already show you. If you want to learn about Kemet, okay, let me just quickly do that once more. This is the presentation I did. If you want to learn about Kemet, all you have to do, for those people who are interested, is go and find out what was inside of the temple library. Oh, sorry, it's too small for you lot to read. Cool. Yeah. Go in there. Yeah. Read what the library. Okay. So let's say, for example, if you go to a university or a particular school, right, and you want to know what they teach, all you have to do is go into their library or go into their curriculum, read what's part of their curriculum, read which textbooks that they have to read to get their understanding and knowledge from, etc. Okay, read their lesson plan. That's all you have to do. I've brought this up like however many years ago. Here it is, right? This is, if you go into the library, all right, 3 broad categories. Cultic, this is the yellow on highlighting. Cultic material, narrative material, and non-cultic text. So you have such things such as the Book of the Temple, Book of Thoth, Book of Fayum, Book of Nut, all these things here. Egyptian hieroglyphic dictionary, commentary, the onomasticon, etc., etc. Like, until I see anybody, who has a Kemetic school or a Kemetic cult or a Kemetic temple bring up stuff like this, then I'm not really interested, because you don't really have a Kemetic temple. All right, you just have something that's make believe, in my humble opinion. So I always say, let's go back to the actual literature. Do what the temple says. Do nothing according to your heart, but you should look at the old writings, pass the direction of the temple in your hands. So what is in the temple, pass that on to your children for instruction. Right. So I'm going straight to the temple. What's inside of the temple that I need to learn if I was an initiate? Are the brothers and teachers teaching? Are the brothers who supposed to be Kemetics teaching you this stuff? Are they teaching you the secret speech spoken by the Eastern Bars? Right? Are they doing that? If they're not, then I don't know. So in here, I believe, it has literally, this is a temple manual. Like, this is what you need to learn. You need to learn the God's words, i.e. the Medonetia. You need to learn correct behavior. You need to learn the rules of performing the daily cult ritual, i.e. the 3 daily doers, i.e. and the other cultic rituals as well. Like, if you're not doing all of this stuff, like, don't tell me that you're truly establishing a Kemetic temple. I don't think none of us yet is ready to establish no Kemetic temple like that. What we need to do, personally, humbly speaking, is raise the erudite amongst us first. This would be the priestly class, right? And amongst that priestly class, the one with the most amount of knowledge, the most amount of Maatian ethics, and the power, and has the power and responsibility to lead, that person then should be now, the king amongst us, or the high priest amongst us, or the high scholar amongst us. And then you're able to now, teach to the normal layman person and kind of bring them into a Kemetic culture, or a Kemetic philosophy and a Kemetic religion. But we're not there yet, right? Because there's not enough Kemetic scholars within outside of our community that I can see. I'm just going to speak for myself over here in the UK. There's nothing like that. Yeah, there's nothing like that. When I look around, I'm like, it seems to me that I'm the most learned amongst every one of you so-called Kemetics in this country. I'm going to reiterate this country, because there's many like profound brothers such as Asai Mahotep, Asa M. Carr, Brother Reggie, Jonathan Owens, all the others in America who's doing their thing. Like, they're doing their thing. I'm not speaking on them. I'm speaking on myself here in the UK. I'm like, yeah. So, Kyle, why don't you start setting up, bro? So what? You lot could just take my money, my attention, my time, my energy, and my resources for what? It's all right, fam. You lot don't know the concept of ma'at yet, i.e., reciprocity. If I'm spending an hour, 2 hours teaching you guys, what are you giving me back in return for it? Eh? Oh, negative comments on YouTube. And I'm all right. I can go to work right now and work for 2 hours and make £500, right? That helps me to feed my family. That helps me to, buy them food, clothe them, house them, take them away on holiday, etc. But yet you want me to spend 2 hours speaking with you guys, wasting my electricity, becoming in a deficit, yeah, where I can actually go and work and make money. Now I'm all right, B. Don't ask me to do them things. But anyways, I digress. Let me quickly go back and read some of these comments. Stopping screen. Let's go. Okay, I have my own perspectives and understanding, but I find I learn the most when perspectives and information is challenged in a healthy and respectful manner, which forces me to do more. What? Listen, Golden Goddess, yeah, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. And this is why I'm actually saying, oh, let me actually jump in and actually, challenge certain ideas, because hopefully other brothers and sisters will come back and say, no, but Kyle, did you look at this and challenge me? I'm like, yeah, perfect, because that forces me to go ahead and do the research, right? But so far, there's nothing going on. So I love you, Golden Goddess, for that thought, because I'm with you on that. Callum, did you possibly invite Shakka for this stream? Would love to hear his take on what you're presenting. No, I haven't. I've just quickly done a stream because I wanted to do a stream. And this is another thing, right? Doing these streams and coordinating and stuff like that, I'm so busy that I can only do this in my free time. So for me now to email Shakka to get a response back and then wait to say, come on to the show to do this, and then coordinate with the time difference with America. I'm over here in the UK, by the way, and he's in New York. There's a 5-hour GMT EST difference. It's like, that's long. It's long to do. So I'm like, bro, I have a platform. I can just talk whenever I want to talk. But I definitely do need to engage with the community a bit more. And that is a very fair, note that you just said to me right there, where I should really get these individuals in to actually have a conversation with them. Says Asayim Carr. It seems like they try and smash everything from all schools into the priesthoods of Amun, which seems like a crazy anachronism to me. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. And I would say to you, I am or was guilty of that when I was first learning Kemetic information as well. Like, especially when you're autodidactic. when you're learning by yourself, you don't technically have a structure. But this is what I love, like going straight to academia. Like me, if I want to learn something, right, and I'm interested on a topic, I'm like, okay, cool. Let me go to, for example, Egyptology. Let me learn Egyptology. Let's see what universities are local to me or in, the UK or even worldwide, right? Let me see what is their curriculum. Yet again, what is their lesson? What is the modules that they do? Cool. What are the textbooks that they have to read from? Oh, can I find any lecture notes or lecture slides, etc.? And I can just learn myself. I've gone to university. I know how this shit works, right? It's not difficult. All you need to do, really and truly, is just get those textbooks, read the curriculum, and do the information and do your literature reviews, etc. So it's not difficult. But unfortunately, when you're self-educated and you don't know the formula, like, yeah, it's going to be a big mishmash for you. Okay, he says, Solomonic TV, salute to you, King. I'm always there to support Solomonic TV. Solomonic TV is doing big things, up and coming Kemetic or Egyptological brother right there. If you can, please show your love and support. Subscribe to his channel, right? Solomonic TV, and see the videos that he's producing on there. Okay, they are quite insightful, and it really helps to stimulate. To me, it stimulates me because I don't really get to see much Kemetic information like that. But when I see his channel, I'm like, right, let me go back and do some reading on certain things because it's helping to become part of your consciousness. So yeah, love to my brother Solomonic TV. Man, like born eternal Lord Allah, peace and blessings to you, my good brother. What's good? Jeez. All right. And then Daro says at him. Yeah. Bro, I would say this, yeah. If you don't send you guys, if you don't want it, go please go ahead at Shakka Ahmose for me. Go ahead and at him. I'm just talking, innit? I'm just talking because I have a platform to talk. But if you don't want to see Shakka Ahmose on this channel, like help me to help you by actually atting him to get him onto this channel. All right. I have a good relationship with Shakka. He's been on this channel before and he's presented information on this channel before. I'm just doing a quick video. But yeah. Okay, doesn't matter which school one belongs to, or does it matter more that one understands differences of the schools and practically applies what's needed to oneself and ritualize it accordingly? I think, yeah, again, if you want to do a mishmash, then that would be okay to do if that's going to be the methodology. But I personally think that the best way to do things is to just start with one. Like, let's not complicate it. Let's start with one thing, one subject matter. Choose your city, choose your town, or whatever the case is, choose your era, i.e., what time in history are we talking about? I personally deal with Middle Egyptian, okay, because that's the textbooks I learned from. It's the Middle Egyptian hieroglyphic language. So that's a particular time frame. Cool. Then I choose a particular city that I want to learn the information from. So I could choose On or Heliopolis, or I could choose Thebes or Set, whichever one it is. Like I learned that 100%. I may even have to practice certain things so it can be ingrained in me. I immerse myself in that philosophical culture. So it's ingrained in. This is my personal methodology. You can do whatever you want. It's ingrained in myself. Then I can then choose, which a lot of the Kemetic folks did. Like if you go back, even just read the Greeks, they literally went from one city, learn what they needed to learn, go to another city and learn what they needed to learn. Like it's not restrictive in that sense. So if that's what you want to do, then just go there, learn that philosophy. Okay. But I definitely think you should have a foundation and learn from that foundation. I will tell you my foundation. My foundation is the city of On, or the Heliopolitan city. Okay. And that's where I learned my stuff from. Like Ra, yeah. I always say it in jest that Ra is the most high, or Ra is my deity, or Ra is the god, whatever, But that's me. I learned Kemetic philosophy very strictly from one particular place, and I haven't learned it all. So therefore, I haven't even moved on to another city yet, technically speaking. But however you guys want to do it that way. I'm just saying, personally, this is the way I do it. Peace and powers. melanated goddess up in the building. One thing I saw that I liked in that debate was him citing Plutarch, who cites Manetho and others who present the Egyptian version of the Exodus story, which contradicts the Bible. Yep. 100. Did you tag him to the title of the video? What did he say that you disagree with, or where was he in error? Oh, I haven't tagged him. And I'll just quickly, for those of you who are coming in right now, I'll just quickly show you what we went through earlier on, which is over here. Give me a second. Share screen. Okay. So over here, it's just
I think he's the one that had the courage.
Basically the foundation of when the first question that Vocab Malone asked Shakka Ahmose. I'm going to mute my mic, play that video so you lot can hear it, and just kind of reiterate what I've said already in the last like half an hour. Okay, so let me mute my mic and play the video. Snap, no sound. That is wild. Why is the video not playing sound? Give me a second. No sound. Okay. 1 second. Let's see, audio. It was playing earlier on. I guess it's playing through my mic. Let me back it up for you guys and not unmute my mic. Not mute my mic, should I say. That's not good though. Apologies for how it's going to sound. It will sound like it has an echo then.
Well, I think he's the one that had the courage. Let's start this conversation.
Yeah. So, do you believe in the concept of sin? If so, how's it atoned for?
I do believe in the concept of sin. The atonement, first of all, how it's atoned for will depend on which eschatological philosophy you subscribe to, right? Which eschatological worldview you subscribe to. So in Christianity, it would be atoned for your sins would be atoned by the crucifixion of Christ, right? If you subscribe to a Kemetic worldview, your sins are atoned for. How can I put this? By identifying with the resurrection of Asar, which is only part of the process of atonement. The atonement part of the process, if you're sincere, I think from my perspective, it starts while you're alive, meaning your behavior, how you live, the things that you do, right? If you've lived a righteous, the paramount was if you lived a righteous life on earth, right? Living a righteous life on earth was part of it. But also a key part of that formula was the belief in the death and resurrection of Asar. So it's through that process that your atonement is achieved. And that's what the primary evidence bears out. That's what the text bears out. So as someone who subscribes to that culture, that's what I believe. Now, here's the thing. I don't necessarily confound my dutiful,
Okay, so yeah, there you go. That is the specific topic that I am speaking on. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. To me, that was weird, right? I'm glad that others who, may not be as academically trained as I am can see that's weird. Right? That's nothing to do with us. That's a Judeo-Christian paradigm that has nothing to do with Kemetic literature. And in this, I kind of show that to you guys. I'm just going to quickly show it to you real quickly again. Right. And I'm just pulling from actual scholars within the field to show that there is literally no concept like that for us over here. This is by Bleeker, I think. He writes in here, the absence of the concept of sin. There's no concept of sin. And then, of course, Maulana Karenga. What page was that again? Sugar. Let me just do a quick search for the word sin. Let's pull this up. Yeah. So Maulana Karenga, same page 233 on mine. I'm not too sure what it is. Let me just quickly double check this for you guys. This is the actual physical copy. Just tell you page. Yeah, 233. It's actually on page 233. If you've got the physical copy, it says here, assimilation with God and perfectibility are also conceptually reinforced by the assumption that human nature is endowed by the Creator and is essentially good, for it is in His likeness, rooted in Ma'at. So we are created in the image of God, which is good from a Kemetic paradigm. We don't have that original sin. Okay, we're not bad people, right? We are actually good. We are from the gods. Thus, there is no concept of sin, even though Jewish, Christian, and Islamic scholars looking for similarities within their own religion might call moral offenses in Kemetic ethical literature sin. It is interesting to note that in David Shennoom's English Egyptian Index of Faulkner's Concise Dictionary of Middle Egyptian, there is no listing for sin. Okay, so that's kind of what I am correcting. Yeah, with inside of Shakka Ahmose's speech with his debate with the good brother Vocab Malone, right? I'm not hating on Shakka Ahmose. I like Shakka Ahmose. I've had him on my channel. So don't please don't anybody misconstrue to think that, you know, I'm throwing digs. No, I'm just literally doing my act. Yeah, just correcting where I see isfet, where I see something that's wrong. Because I see it with inside of the Kemetic community or in other communities, we just bypass when somebody says something wrong. Yeah, because I look and I'm like, who else was it? What's that guy who recently was crying because he debated a Christian? What's his name now, man? The guy who does like Kemet, ancient Egypt and aliens and stuff like that. Like all of those people, I'm like, this is BS. Yeah, and then when I'm, you know, someone comes to me, oh yeah, you're a Kemetic, you must believe this, and I'm like, what the hell? Do you think I don't ascribe to none of this nonsense? So it's like, if I don't correct it, yeah, who will? Because nobody else is correcting it. So let me just correct it. So that's all I'm doing right now. Okay. Cool. Let me just quickly. What is my at? Jeez, that's long. That is a big, long question. That's it. Billy Carson. That was the one. Like when I see that, I'm like, brother. And you know why? Sometimes I see people with like Kemetic unks on them and I'm starting conversations and then they mention Billy Carson to me and I'm like, oh, yeah, cool. Say less. Yeah, say less. And then I bring up certain things that to do with like Christianity. Like I hate seeing Kemetic people, you know, do the whole comparing, contrasting the Kemetics with Christianity. And I'm like, y'all need to stop that. And that's not me again. Like you might see that as me, for example, Jabari is like a prominent figure in that. You might see that as me hating Jabari. I'm like, no, I don't hate Jabari. I just see it as methodologically flawed. Like how do you even come to that conclusion historically? Right? We can see, yeah, there's similarities, but you can't prove that because it's not historically coming from Kemet. But anyways, let me not do that. Let's quickly drop the link and get you guys on for a few minutes, and then I can keep it moving. So here you go. So yeah, like this question, I would love to answer you. It's a long answer, right? Because I could just tell you simply, Ma'at is a polysemic word within inside of the ancient Egyptian language that has various different meanings, i.e., righteousness, justice, truth, reciprocity, balance, order, etc. But that's just a surface level. Okay, that's just like what the word means. But what does it mean inside of a Kemetic concept? Because if inside a Kemetic concept or conceptualization, it has an ontological meaning. It's a Kemetic principle. It's a foundational Kemetic principle which is essential to the nature of God. I.e., let's just say God within inside of Kemet is Ra. but within inside of the essential nature of Ra is Ma'at, right? That was there before the foundation of the earth. In fact, that was what Ra stood on in order to create earth, full stop, right? Ma'at. Everything we do in Kemet is Ma'at. Everything we offer up in Kemet is Ma'at. But just saying this, I fear it doesn't give Ma'at enough justice. So that's something that is a whole show to basically do, to break down what is Ma'at within inside of a Kemetic framework. Hopefully that does a little bit to answer your question. I will get to you in a minute, Jose. Let me just quickly see anything else. Similarities prove it, Goofy. You really don't know then. This is what I mean. And it is shocking to see that because people see there's a similarity means there is a just because there's a correlation doesn't mean it's a causality. Okay, doesn't mean that at all. Sin is analogous to Isfet. Both enforce morality, but sin is more personal and Isfet more systematic. Sin is analogous to Isfet. Nope. Sin is not side of Kemet, full stop. Both enforce morality, but sin is more personal and Isfet is more systemic. I hear you, but not from a Kemetic paradigm. Okay. Isn't it a guide to live a moral life? It's more than a guide to live a moral life.
What's up, Kalam?
What's good, man? Like Joe say up in the building. Talk to me,
Kalam.
Man, like as far as there too. One second.
Kalam, you know I have to correct you, right?
Sorry, go ahead.
Kalam has been calling me Jose for the longest time, and it's Jose Kalam. I just didn't want to correct you because I felt bad. Because you were so enthusiastic with the pronunciation and it sounded so good, but it's really Jose, huh?
Jeez,
I just didn't want to say nothing.
Apologies. I don't have one Spanish bone in my body, so I'm getting it wrong.
No, I just didn't want to say nothing, Kalam, because I felt so bad about correcting because he was so enthusiastic and he said it with such confidence and love. I didn't want to say nothing.
Hey, that's good. You know what? Yeah, I feel the same way. I remember I was at work and I had these ladies calling me Kamal. And I get it a lot, right? Because I don't know, we have dyslexia going on, like with the I don't know. Anyways, and I'm like, I don't mind because Kamal technically means perfect. So I'm like, yeah, cool. Keep calling me perfect. But then I corrected them and said, no, it's actually Kalam. But I prefer it's being said Kalam. Sorry, Kalam. But anyways, continue. The floor is yours. I just need to do something.
Well, I don't really think he specifically pointed to a text that said that. So I'm not going to be too hard on him. I think he was giving his own viewpoint, in my opinion. What do you think, Asar?
Shakka was he was good on the debate. Shakka, with him, he needs to sit down and prepare something, and he wasn't really super prepared for that discussion, even though he won the day in the discussion. He just when you on that hot seat and it's going down, you're going to say certain things that sometimes ain't according to what the actuality is. For instance, our big brother Saber Impudishi said Geb was sucking the energy. Remember? I'm like, Saber.
Well, I never heard that one.
Yeah. So Saber can read.
That sounds wild.
Well, listen. Saber can read.
Proper.
Listen, no, because I have to preface it properly so it's understood. He was like, Geb is sucking the energy, and this is all Sarnetta show. I'm like, hold up. Saber just got wrapped up in the moment. Saber can read the metal nature, but when you go right beside Geb, it says spitting. So he spits the children out or spits on it, handles it, no different than you do in real life when it's going down in the bedroom. And so he stated.
Wait. I saw that sound like a pause moment, brother. That sounds like a serious pause moment. You had to explain that, brother.
You better lick your tongue and handle your business. What you talking about?
Hold on. I don't want to go, I don't want to go into no issue. But that's the only issue I want us to discuss. If we're discussing something, right, is that.
Correct. But that's a good correlation. You're in the hot seat, and sometimes you get excited and you might say something that people think is a little off. And in this case, where we would say, okay, Isfet is chaos. It's chaos. It's chaotic and it's chaos. Within that, you can find sin in chaos, but the term sin is not particularly used in Medu Neter or in the case of being a Shemsu, because that's what it is.
That's how I'm gonna pull it up. But I'm saying we can't use the word sin full stop when we're talking about Kemet.
Right.
Yeah, well, there is no direct word for that though.
It is. It's Isfet. But Kalam is holding you to a higher standard, brother. Shakka. So you
but Kalam, he didn't say. Remember, he never pointed to Kemetic text that said that. He said that himself. He didn't quote any Kemetic text. So I know. I'm not going to be too hard on him because he didn't say the ancestors said that. Yeah, he didn't say that. So let's be fair if we're going to critique the man.
He started off with saying,
the ancestors said that. That's his viewpoint and his point alone.
He started off saying, I believe.
Right.
Yeah? And the moment a Kemetic teacher starts
and that's a fair statement. And that's a fair statement. But that's a fair statement.
Yeah.
Hold on, let him finish though.
The moment someone who's Kemetic starts off saying, I believe, yeah, that is Isfet. Your foundation is Isfet. Prove me wrong.
Kemet, you can't tell a person who's speaking about something that's not literal that they can't believe.
Bro, in Kemet, we don't deal with beliefs. We deal with knowledge.
You can't tell him he can't believe.
We don't deal with
beliefs. That's not 100% true. That's not 100% true, Kalam. You have to pump your brakes there.
I'm willing to be proven wrong.
Because that's what I would tell you this. That's generally about 90 to 95% true. But if you're talking about an afterlife, that's a belief. Because none of us never seen it to come back. Anything else other than that, I'll give you that. Because I never seen the afterlife. I never seen none of that.
And this is why, I say that I see that one of my Christian followers wanted me to debate Asar M. Carr on the topic of the afterlife. Because I do not believe in no afterlife. I 100%. Now let me just make sure you get that clear. I don't believe in afterlife. I know the afterlife based upon the Kemetic framework, based upon the Kemetic conceptualization. Hold on. And it's not the same as the Christian conceptualization, where you're in this fantasy world. I do not think, and so this is me now, I'll have to prove this. I do not think that based upon what people believe the Kemetic afterlife is, it's not that. What people believe the Kemetic afterlife is not that. And I hold 100% to the Kemetic afterlife, and it's not no fantasy.
Right. And the reason Kalam can say that is because, like I was mentioning, as above, so below the other day, what you find in the sky, you find on the earth. So it's not like those locations aren't physically in Egypt. It's not like those things aren't meant for you to do in actuality while you live. Remember, a good portion of the book of Coming Forth by Day says this is true for the person who is living as well as the person who makes the transformation.
Well, you know what's interesting, Kalam? They started to find out in reading these texts that these places that they're talking about are actual places. They didn't make up the place. They're real places. You can find them on a map of Kemet. You can look at it and say, this is what they were talking about. So I agree with you that is not totally out of context, but there is a level where it's not, they're not talking about something physical. They're talking about a physical place. When they're describing the physical place, it's not exactly a physical place, if you understand what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of other things involved in the afterlife other than just, boom, I'm here, I can find the duat over there. It's not that simple.
When they talk about the end
over here, so when we die, we're going to leave here and transport over there.
When they talk about the
place, they found that those are real places.
When they talk about the Amduat, they start talking about locations in the sky, right? So we can see under what some people call the Big Dipper or the Orion Nebula, where they said that the stars are produced in the text, and they tell you that that's where a star sires you into being, and where the flood of the Happy River goes from the sky to the earth. And you can see the different locations they're talking about. And when you're in Egypt during certain times of the day or night, you can see, and it looks like what they said. They're adumbrations of the truth. So they're telling you parts of the sky, parts of nature. They're telling you where they believe the ancestors go to when they finish. It just happened to be a nebula over there that produced this particular galaxy. So these are the things that come up and would point to not just that the reality or the actuality of the thing, but the fact that they're not just telling you it's here, they're saying it's up there too. But when you say it's up there too, that starts to get into, does an astral body travel as a whole, which is something that we don't know and something we have no proof for.
So this
See,
is
but
what
you
I'm
see-
willing
see-
to.
But you see, us-
Hold on, Jose. Hold on. I'm gonna let you speak. This is what I'm willing to do, right? Because I think this could be a good learning moment for anybody who takes up this challenge, right? If any of you guys would like to present or debate information on the Kemetic afterlife, right? I am willing to have a debate on that with anybody. So that's what I'm gonna say. But go ahead, Jose.
But you see, we have to understand these concepts are very complicated, and we have a lot of missing information and knowledge when it comes to these concepts. We're just
Not
taking
really.
it for face value. It has a lot of cultural context that we don't see, and it's
Not really.
missing because of how things were done.
Not
There's
really,
a lot of
because
cultural
the cultures are still there.
context missing.
The cultures are still sitting there. So I think
I would say
people
there's a lot
try
of cultural
to,
context.
yeah, not really. And I'll tell you why,
Right.
because a lot of people do this, right? Because you're right in saying there's cultural context, but we're not right in saying, oh, we don't really know, because we do. You got people who set up whole spiritual systems based off of their comprehension and going against Shemsu Natcher belief. So Christianity comes from that, Islam comes from that. The Hebrews, the Hellenistic Jews was all up in Egypt. You have whole Hindus. Hindus. We just had a Hindu brother try to come on here and pretend like Hinduism and being a Shemsu is the same thing.
Hold on.
So
1 second. I just want to shout out. I believe that's Enki. The real Enki is up in the building. Salute to you, King.
salute.
Yeah.
Man.
All right. Real quickly though, because I'm. This is the point here that I really want someone to present what their concept of the afterlife is, right? And then I will show you what the Kemetic concept of the afterlife is, right? From my perspective, and I could be wrong, yeah, and you could be right. But I'm sure if we had a discussion on it or dialogue or debate with it, I'm sure we both give something to each other, right? So it says here, saying you know there is an afterlife removes all your credibility.
Wow, so
To me, I'm gonna stop there and say, to me, yeah, that lets me know that you do not know and understand Kemetic philosophy correctly.
Come on, what you doing?
The next part here it says
Parker,
that
go
I
somewhere.
believe, unless you died and come back like Jesus, okay, I'm saying to you,
Oh, sure.
Kemetic never dealt with belief, right? And when I say Kemetics, I'm talking about the priestly class. I can't prove to you what the, those lower than the priestly class, accepted, so they could deal with beliefs. But I'm saying, based upon the literature that we have of the priestly class, it's not a belief system, right? You're just not understanding the text correctly. There is no dying and coming back to life like Jesus within inside of the Kemetic text. Okay? Once you go and you enter into the realm of the star, let me call it the realm of the star, there is no you physically returning onto this earth again. And if you believe so, provide your evidence if you are truthful. There's none of that. A star never came back into flesh. again, or came back as a living soul as again.
Well,
Right?
Asar
Or
was
came
never
back-
in the flesh to begin with.
No, it was a living soul, but came back. That's not the concept of Asar, right? You go into the land
Well,
of
Asar was never human to begin with, Kalam. So but
one could
Asar was never human.
One could argue.
That's all.
According to the story, he was never human.
One could
He
argue.
never came here in the flesh.
One could
That's
argue.
not quite true. Yeah,
Yeah, one could argue. I'm not going to say.
Well, let's say
he was a colonist
yes.
from Ethiopia.
And
So,
I'm not saying a definitive no. I'm saying there is an argument that
Okay,
can be made
well, let's
there
say
for the existence of the
Okay,
human, sorry, the human existence of Asar, and then there is another argument that there was no human existence of Asar, and it's purely, you know, a philosophical principle. Okay, so that's
okay,
what I'm going to say. It's an
I
argument. to
used
be
the
had.
wrong. I used the wrong character because scholars do think that there was a man who Asar was based on.
they think
Possibly.
it's a few men. So this is
Okay,
why I
my
say a
bad.
lot of us try to jump
Bad.
before we know. Yeah. So they say there's a
I
few
jumped out the window
different.
on that one.
Yeah, it's okay, because that's usually the consensus in the neighborhood, right? But when you actually do the study, you see that they think it's several different people named Asar who they call Asar after his life and after the mythos. So there's certain things that these people did and what have you that they correlate. No different than the Jesus situation, except for the difference with Asar is you actually have happenings in an actual historical space, right? You have things in history, like you got tombs of Asar, you got this of it, you actually have those things around, where some of these other legends, you don't have any historical evidence for their existence at all. Now, when it comes to the afterlife,
Yeah,
Asar is going to be the ancestor cult that everyone ends up dealing with at some point in time. So that particular nature represents the ancestor cult, right? Like I said, they said E.A. Wallace Budge points out, when William Flinders Petrie points out during the excavation, they found a head with a lot of incense under it in a per ankh, where they were obviously giving offerings. In the pyramid text, it'll tell you you will eat the head of the Tsar and have to deal with Raz, this, that, the other, if you try to commit genocide against the people. So is there a physical possible Asar? Absolutely, that could be the case. But when it comes to just afterlife discussion and will Asar come back as like Jesus did? No, that's not part of our paradigm. So Kalam is right saying that concerning you. If you're looking for someone to come back and save you, as we keep telling you, no one's going to save you but hold up, man. No one's going to save you but you. Then you need to get on your go. Like I said, the book of coming forth by day is a psychological effort to transform your limbs and your mindset to do ma'at, the right thing, to get you back on point, so that when the soul does go,
you
got a good option. Now, I'm gonna say this last.
What's
Hold up,
interesting, Asar?
Go ahead, fam. Go ahead, fam.
You know what's interesting? People have castigated E.A. Wallace Budge for being a horrible Medu Neter translator. And I was reading some of Budge's work to realize that that's not entirely true.
Right.
Because I saw him translate Nesut Bidi as the king of southern and northern Egypt. And I said, well, this man was onto something. When he was right, he was right. When he was wrong, he was wrong. I think they probably just I think he was speeding, and he probably got castigated because he was talking too much about black people in ancient Egypt.
Well,
they're saying this man seen too many black faces in Egypt. Let's get him up out of here. That was probably part of the reason why he got castigated. But he was right. He was right though when he was right, and he was wrong. He was wrong.
Yup, absolutely.
So
his problem was when he started going, they were so new at doing the pronouncing and enunciating the Medu Neter, they made mistakes. That's all. When he pronounces that they're Negroes in one you know, they're trying to objectively place blacks in a box, but at the same time, E.A. Wallace opens that door in his forward and tells you that Egypt comes from places like the Congo, Uganda, you know what I'm saying? So he's like, I find it no more fitting that the religions we were trying to look for in Semitic information are not there connected to Egypt, but they all connect to Bantu traditions, and they connect over here like the Sudanese religion, and that's what he connects them to. So he says that in the beginning of Osiris, the what you call resurrection. He says it in the beginning of both books and really breaks it open. So that's when they're like, okay, you're trying to give black people a foot.
Yeah. Real quickly, a star. We got somebody. I don't know if it's a brother or sister, but I think it's a brother. Prestrev says, Callum, or anyone actually, is there a school or cult for Akeru?
He says, is there a school or cult? Okay, yeah, there's plenty of per ankhs. In America, they call them Shriners, right? Because African religion was forbidden to be practiced at first, so they had to call themselves Shriners. But yeah, there's per ankhs. I have a cyber per ankh. We teach first. I give you the basic lessons, then I give you another set of lessons, then I give you another set of lessons, and then I start to really break it down for you and teach you metal nature as well. So I have a few graduates. There's one out there, in fact, with you guys. And that's when you start to learn. That's when you start to know. When you hear my little brother Impu Mdua talk, he's precise. He's on point. And you'd be hard fetched to find him incorrect on certain things. You would have to really dig, Doug. So yeah, there's plenty spots. Jabari Osaze has his, you know, and that comes from what they call the Kemetic tradition. But if we're being precise, even the word Kemetic is improper. It's Shemsu. So if you're a follower of Necha, whichever particular Necha you follow, you're a Shemsu of that Necha. So that's why you see you have to look for the words. You know, you have to look for. You even have Tamara El Ceuta, the European lady, has a full Orthodox setup going on. Ifudishi has one. Raketi Amin has one. So if you want to look for those who are with Sheikh Antijoke and learn Medu Necha and learn the way and how they move, go over there to their websites and connect with them and make it happen. It's definitely not impossible.
Well, but this seems like the next time we do a show, we should probably address some of these topics.
Yeah, definitely.
But
But I just want to say, you know, specifically the deity, I believe it's the earth deity Aker or Akeru. I do not know personally of any, in terms of ancient Egypt, I don't know of any school of thought or temple that was specifically for that. So personally, I don't know. So yeah, that's my answer for you there.
Oh, we saying specifically for Gab? Yeah.
Right, the next Akeru, is there any information from the literature about Akeru?
Yeah, there is early on. I did a show on Akeru and showing how he was Gab and how when you see Akeru used, they usually use 3 flags for the Netcharu. When you see 3 flags, it's almost automatically going to be about Gab or Seb. So, or Akeru, which is the older name. So, yeah. But as far as his cult temple, I think I heard there was one, and I'm trying to remember the article. So right now, that's just speculation in my head. But if I'm not mistaken, there was just one that they found for him.
All right. Okay. And again, family, let me just drop the link if any of you guys would like to come in. I don't know if the good brother Enki is still here. Come true if you can. Let's see. Easy Band says, Callum, I'm waiting for you to look into the Mulungu Nyambe, the creator god of Central, Eastern, Southern Bantu speakers. Okay. Has anyone read the 42 negative confessions in Meta-Nature? Yep. I think I did a whole. That was one of my first. Actually, that was the first video on my channel. Can
You got
imagine?
like 2 shows on that, plus me, you and Smash was doing it one day.
Yeah. Let me just quickly show you. The audio on here will be absolutely terrible, right? But let me just quickly show you on my channel. Let's do a quick presentation. Share screen.
I saw. Did you see my sad attempt to try to prove that they were burning people alive in ancient Kemet on Smash's show?
There you go. Right there.
I didn't think it was that bad.
Easy to go from home to a holiday home with no hidden fees.
Hold on 1 second.
To get started in data analytics, you don't need previous experience or a degree. The Google Data Analytics Certificate.
Presentation.
So yeah, there it is on the channel. 10 years ago, 70,000 views on this particular 42 negative confessions from the Egyptian Book of the Dead. And then we're just going straight into the text right there, reading it. And look at these faces I ain't seen for ages. We've got Wujari on here, Nehesti on here as well. Jeez, who else is on here, man? That is wild. Hey, even Israel Dutch was up in here.
Ani, right?
Yeah. That's the papyrus of Ani.
That's the purpose of Ani, right?
Yeah. Jeez.
You know, Jose, when we did that though, like when Kalam put that out, he was cooking, like super swelterweight and hot. It was, he had everybody over here. It was like, going over there to see what's going down in Britain.
I'm gonna look for it. I have the papyrus. I have the papyrus. So I'm gonna look for it.
Yeah, I loved it. Let me see. Where are we?
I didn't reach that far in it yet.
Apart from the cult of STEM, is ancient Egyptian religion polytheistic?
No easy bands. No. So there's no such word as polytheism and monotheism.
Yeah, it is, according to how they think it is. So yeah, it is absolutely. See, easy, my brother, easy
Greek, brother. So you can't.
It don't matter. You speak in English now. So yeah, polytheism. Yeah, it is what it is. What you looking for though, easy bands, because Christianity is also polytheistic. We got to get their record in heaven. But you're looking for a most high or something like that. So let me ask you real quickly, and this is real simple. When you look up in the sky, you see planets. Then you see planets behind the planets. When you look up in the sky, you see stars. You see stars behind the stars. Then you see black holes as well. You see black holes behind black holes. You're not looking at a singularity at any point in time. So what are you calling the most high physically in the sky if you look up for some God when the earth is round in the first place and most of the shapes in the universe are round? Which way is up? So you don't even know what you're talking about when you try to assert like, oh, it's of course it's polytheism. Why? Because your universe begets everything. There's not nothing in your universe that doesn't beget in order to create, including your God. Then I made this. Then I made that. Then I made this. So I don't know what you're looking when you say you're looking for the most high, or which one is the most powerful, or which one has the most strength, or which one is the most wise, or which one your argument doesn't make sense when you have three that bear record in heaven. And if I ask you this, if I say if Jesus is the Son and God is the Father and the Holy Ghost is just the other portion, and Jesus is, and they're 1 and 3 and 1 and 3 are all the same, did Jesus rise above his mother in order to impregnate himself? In order to bring himself into existence, impregnate her? See, now you have a problem because he's supposed to be God too, right? So he's part of the Holy Spirit, right? Is he the one that rolls over Mary to impregnate her? Because it says the Holy Ghost rolls over her. And then the Muslims start to ask you, in what fashion did the Holy Ghost? Was it missionary? Was it? So you have issues with having mono. And you know, if you catch mono, you got to go to the doctor. You don't have that problem with polytheism. Go ahead.
All right. So yeah, family tree. let me try to round down the show, and then hopefully we can stimulate another show after this. So I definitely would love for us, to be. I don't even want to talk about other religions when I'm dealing with Kemet. I just want to talk straight Kemet, 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 Kemet all day long. Kemet, Kemet. Who loves Kemet? I love Kemet, 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 Kemet. Yeah. So that's what I want to do personally. Yeah. And I would love to really go through other things with inside of. I don't know. I think personally, looking at debates like these is great teaching moments. And I would love to do another show on certain things. It could be this debate or even another debate kind of where as us as the Kemetic community stands. And what I mean by that is I have my own standpoint. Saul has his own standpoint. Jose has his own standpoint. Whoever else from the Kemetic community might have their own standpoint. But let's actually have a conversation about it. Let's present information, and hopefully it will help us better our understanding on this Kemetic information. Ooh, Lord have mercy. So your mic is bad. Yeah. Sorry, just to mute you. Because personally, I say that Kemet doesn't deal with, and yours as well, Jose. God damn. I personally say that Kemet doesn't deal with beliefs, right? But I want to know from your standpoint, I'll open up that question. Does Kemet deal with beliefs, right? Because from my standpoint, I would say the foundation of Kemet is knowledge, to know something, right? It's not to believe something. That's never the starting point. It's to know. So I want to know, one word answer from everybody on the panel right now. What's your thoughts on that? Can we start with belief or can we start with knowledge? Go on, Jose.
I'm going to say knowledge is definitely the basis for anything when you deal with Kemet. I'm not going to say there's not beliefs, because every culture has a belief. But the general answer is no, it is not. It's definitely not based on belief. It's definitely not based on belief. There's some realistic connection to everything that they say. So
right.
I definitely would agree.
All right. That's all. What's your thoughts? You're muted, by the way. Let me unmute you.
Yeah, it definitely starts with knowledge. Belief is in there, though. There's certain things that are certain things that you will find as religious, but at the heart of it, and when you deal with the priest, you're basically dealing with knowledge, and the knowledge is a certain way. How they want you to do things is usually a certain way, and wiggle room takes place outside at your kera, at your house. Wiggle room doesn't usually take place too much in the per ounce.
All right. What else? Let me see. And there was another point that I actually brought up that I thought, that doesn't sound right. Let me see if I can play real quickly. Just like a little edit extra. Let's get it up.
Kalam, I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you for having me, but I have to go. Don't forget, we're supposed to do another show. Don't forget me. I saw we're supposed to do something soon. So hit me up, let me know.
Thursday, baby.
Because
Thursday or Friday.
I got into, all right, no problem. I got into the papyrus of Anui, and we just hit that one thing, and we didn't really get deeper into it. So we need to go deeper into it, right?
All right, definitely.
So thanks, brothers. Later, man.
All right.
Peace. What's up?
What's up? All right, cool. So I'm gonna play this bit. And I want to not let you, I want to ask you the question. I'll ask you the question because I don't know. Let me see.
Especially through the lens of the Christian church in Africa, but not only there, because all people are made in the image of God. Genesis 1:26, the imago Dei is something that you and I bear. That's why we can have a rational discourse. Now, I know you're made in the image of God, but brother, you don't have any foundation to think that you're made in the image of God upon the world, as far as I understand it.
What do you think about that? About the image of God?
There's a lot of images of God, and they get mad when you show them. So I don't know. Even
No.
would bring that. What's up, money?
So basically, vocab is saying that he believes, or he has from the Genesis 1, the concept of God. Like humans are created in the image of God, right? And that's part of his worldview, and that's why we can sit down and have a rational conversation. But as far as he's concerned, Kemet doesn't have that same concept of humans being created in the image of God.
Well, we're the teardrops of Ra, so we come directly from the eye of Ra. There's no better image, and
So
then
let's replay that. Let's replay it so the audience can hear it, though, okay? Because this is when Shakka says. So this is me cutting vocab right now. When Shakka says that vocab is Kemetically illiterate, it's like that is a clear proof right there that you clearly don't know Kemetic literature. All right, let me play that.
6, the Imago Dei Church in Africa, but not only there, because all people are made in the image of God. Genesis 1:26.
Genesis 1:26. Imago Dei.
Imago Dei is something that you and I bear. That's why we can have a rational discourse. Now, I know you're made in the image of God, but brother, you don't have any foundation to think that you're made in the image of God upon your worldview, as far as I understand it. And Lord knows, Sonetta doesn't. He thinks he's a highly evolved fish.
So it's like, man's trying to send shots, yeah. I'm like, listen, clearly you don't know Kemetic literature, because as far as I'm concerned, unless somebody could prove me wrong, Kemetic literature is the oldest form of literature that has it written that human beings are created in the image of God, right? That is where that concept comes from, Kemet. But yet you want to bring Genesis 1:26 to say, we have it, but you, Kemet, don't even have that as far as I'm concerned. I'm like, what? What? Negro, what? Go on. Yeah, talk to me on that, man.
And you're right, and this is why we charge them with copying, because they this is why we say you're just a biter. Not only are you created in the image of God, in the Amduat, you see the text Haru looks after you directly. Not only that, when you pass away, they say that you'll become the double. You guys always hear what's called the double. That means that you're going to be a part of nature. So they expect you to become the double. When you wash, when the king washes and gets out, my hand is the hand of so and so. My hair is the hair of Nu. My phallus is the phallus of Asar. My soul and my backbone is the backbone of Suti. Every part of me is a Necharu. There's no part of my body that is not clean, pure, etc. Wab, blah 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 blah. I am a Necha. Coffin text. I eat, I copulate, I defecate, I am a Necharu. What are you talking about, vocab?
This is what I'm going to do right now. This is what I'm going to do right now. Let me share my screen here, because me, I always have to source up. Yeah, because I'm like, y'all don't know Kemetic literature. I'm like Shakka, why are you not bringing this up real quickly? But anyways, this is it right here. So we have inside of Kemetic literature, we have a terminology called Sinen Netcha, which is literally, as you said, the Imago Dei, right? I'm not making this up. I'm just quoting our Kemetic teachers, like, for you, so you can see it, right? So, put me in an environment with what's his name, Vocab Maloney. Okay. When it comes to actually discussing Kemetic literature like that, you don't know what you're talking about. Okay. Anyways, as noted above, the Senen Netcha concept, both as a general anthropological understanding and as a distinct term, emerges in the first intermediate period, that is 2,000. Let me just round up, 2,000 years BCE. That's 2,000 years before your Christianization concept even seeps in. Yeah. That's 4,000 years ago, right? We already had this. It says here, although the philosophical portrait of the king suggested this and provided supportive concepts, the term was not used to describe the royal ruler until the Middle Kingdom in the 13th dynasty. This concept is important in several ways. First, it is an inclusive concept without regard to distinctions of nationality, class, or sex. Secondly, It is the oldest expression of this concept in world. Let me do this.
Woo! In world view.
World literature. Yeah, world literature. Thirdly, it is important in that it precedes royal imago Dei categories. Yeah, so that's the Tut, Chenit, Seshep, Seshmu, etc., which do not appear until the 13th dynasty of the Middle Kingdom. Fourthly, the Senenetia concept is the spiritual and ethical grounding for concepts of the sacredness of life, human dignity, and human moral responsibility for Maatian practice. In a word, it is at the center of the Maatian understanding of what it means to be human. And then again, it goes through the different places where this terminology is being used. They are his images and came from his persons. This is from Merikara 130 to 132. And here it is inside of the what's we call it, the hieroglyph transliteration. Sorry, what do you call this? Not transliteration, transcription. Is it called transliteration or transcription?
Transcript. That's just a transcript. Yeah.
Transcript. There you go.
That right there is transliterated, though. You're talking about the methodological put into the English sounds.
This one, I don't even know. This is no, because it doesn't have like any e's in between, so it's just the transcript.
Okay.
This is the transliteration. Again, look, people are the likeness of God, and again, here it says it, Remech, Senu, and nature. Right? This is the image of God, that humans are in the likeness of the image of God. So we have this concept. We can go on and on and on, but we have this concept long before the Christian concept. I'm not going to tell you that you copied it from Kemet, right? I'm not even going to do that. I'm just going to show you that we have it way before, Christians had it.
Absolutely.
Cool. Let me just quickly go through any more of these questions or comments on the YouTube, because I'm trying to shut down the show, and then we could do another show later on. The whole concept of hiding behind the argument of the Greeks is funny. All right. Jeez. Yo, one of your students are here, you know.
And Puim Duwa in the building. And Puim Duwa. That's my brother right there. He get down. Go there, test his knowledge like a goofy. He gonna get on you. Young priest and trainer, and he makes the natural, and he can make a nature, and he can make your bowl from clay, and he can make. Look, I'm giving him props. He physically make those things in his garage at the house and can make it happen. So don't get it messed up. All the way down from the grain. You know what I'm saying? He'll shape it for you, put your name on it, carve it out. I got another shorty he just recently contacted. She's in Zaire. She's the one who will make your heru and your oddies and all that for touching the mouth. She's on Etsy. All of that stuff, yo. Everything is being put in place.
Salute to those creators, man. All right. Somebody here says Shakka almost. Yeah, man. So we invite everybody to on the channel. Like, we're not doing this out of bad faith. Let me say that from now. I am gonna just read one or two comments to see. Let's see. Since they came up with Christianity with no influence, I guess they got writing with no influence too. We didn't say. Again, we're not talking about influence. We all know that the whole. No, that's an overstatement of a statement, right? But we know that ancient Egypt or Kemet influenced a large portion of the world. Okay, we know that.
Let me say something too, because they did a show on this the other day. Kemet is not the first, but it has a lot of the first, right? So before them, you have like the Koi, where you have Kagan, you have Kagan, his wife, his children, you have the Thunder God, and you have a trickster as well amongst the Koi religion. One of the oldest one that I know in particular. The Ifa and the Akan are derivatives, and they testify to that. So any new guys popping up in America acting like Ifa and someone's I think I heard Egypt was an insult to Africa. Shut up. Let me tell you, shut up. There's no insult. You just have to know the order in which things came into existence, and you have to show the respect and honor of what came before, so you can show how you do it now. That's all.
Indeed.
There's never been disrespect there or any disconnect there. So don't let none of these weirdos try to disconnect nothing.
There you go. All right, family tree. 1 second. So yeah, family tree. I am literally at the end of the show right now. I particularly think it was a really good show. If you believe it was a good show as well, please hit us up with a like right now. Let everybody else know that you actually enjoyed the show. And if you want, right, if you want, and you think we deserve it, some reciprocity, you can drop us with a super chat or donation, whatever the case is. Like, feel free to do that to show your love and appreciation. All right. I'm gonna get my brother Asar back on to close down the show. And again, all right, if you want more shows like this, all you have to do is request it with inside of the comment section. Right. I'm just doing shows on what you guys want and what I particularly like as well. Right. So just let us know what you want and we'll get it up here for you as well. All right, Asar, closing words before we go.
Man, get your read on, man. You know, like we said this for years, Kalam. You know that Bible like the back of your hand. You know that Quran like the back of your hand. You know that you even know the back of the Gita like the back of your hand. When you gonna pick up your African literature? When you gonna pick up your own book so you can see where all that came from, so that you could get acclimated and appropriated with the proper context, so you're not running around here. The next thing you're gonna know, they're gonna be like, "No, we're Indians. We're not Brits. What are you doing?" Get back in touch with your African selves. Your color is the skin, is the kiss of Ra. The later color doesn't mean anything except for that. Yes, eventually we do this. They never had a problem with that in Kemet. Everybody was their children. It's the hub of Africa. We teach the world, we move the world. It's how you got what you got. Come back to the original, get back to your Ma'at foundation so you can move accordingly. What's up?
What's up? All right, family tree, we're closing down the show right now. If you would like, please feel free to come on the behind the stages and you can talk with us. We'll be here for a few more minutes. So if you want to talk off air, please come on in. I'll leave it open for the next 5 minutes if anybody would like to come in. Peace and love, family. And again, hit up the like button if you enjoyed the show, and I'll catch you guys on another show. All right. Oh man. Peace and love, baby. Peace and love.